So what's going on?
They're trying to kick them out and turn it into a condo.
Oh, really? The movie place?
Yeah. Basically, if we get enough signatures and we're handing out this number now, we'll call him.
You have one. Yeah. But we're also no longer renting at this point. No. Yeah, yesterday was the last day. No. I have to be out before that. I'm sorry. Alrighty. Bye-bye. How that movie plays. Right now, it's my feeling is that people keep coming in with the recommendations about what to do, what I should do, and like, did you look here? Did you look here? No, I want to say to some people, no, I'm an idiot. I didn't look. It's unpleasant, and then just people always want to come and talk about what's going to happen to their rentals. It takes away from me getting out of here, and packing the. I mean, I have to be out of here, and at some points I'm just going to say I'm not available to talk to people. I'm just I just, like the woman tomorrow, I know what's going to happen. She's going to come in. I'm going to say, look, I just said that just so you bring the movies back.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about it. If you want to sue me, go ahead. You can sue a defunct corporation. It's not going to exist. And, it's going to cost you more. I'm sorry it's come to this, but, there's nothing that, we did on purpose. And like my wife said, I didn't make someone sick. I didn't go out, and I didn't do this on purpose. This is nothing that I didn't plan this. I didn't have a 17-year scam involved, and the build up to, in 2006 I'm gonna rip everybody off. It's certainly not my thing here. And people have called me on. One guy called me unethical. And like I'm waiting for someone to pull some crap like that in front of my kids because my picture's been out there. People know who I am. And which I will not tolerate. The movie place was started in 1985 by a woman who had a used clothing store, and she was in a space that's now Henry's. Yeah, all those little arches were individual stores at one point.
Oh,
yeah. She was not going to get her lease renewed.
Okay.
Ironically, like it's just like this. But she found there was a travel agent, mid '80s, and then so she took that spot, and the place started with 500 videotapes, and now it's what's left is 6,500 videotapes.
Wow.
After converting to DVD, and then over 18,000 DVDs.
What I'm trying to say is that I'm all wrong for you. You want a Valentino, somebody with polo ponies, a big shot.
What you're trying to say is you don't want me to love you. Say it. Say it.
This store opened up. I didn't join it.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have Sunset Boulevard, and I needed to have Sunset Boulevard for something. I went in and said, "Do you have Sunset Boulevard?" And the guy went, "No." And so I said, "Okay." And I knew the woman who owned it from the neighborhood, and I was in college, and I was making a ton of cash in the worst job possible. It was a pizza place that's gone, and she came in there and said, "You want to work for me?" And I took a huge pay cut. Mm-hmm. I grew up watching movies. There was a time in New York television before the Oprahs and Phils and all that junk that news starting at 5. Mm-hmm. You used to have news at 6. You sat down, you had news at 6. That's when you watched the news. Vietnam brought into your living room. None of this 5 o'clock and Judge this, Judy that. All that junk.
Yeah.
It was just enough already. But they used to have movies on TV. You used to have choices at 4:30 after all the soaps ended. There was one last soap the only soap that I ever watched was Dark Shadows. You watched the 4:30 movie on Channel 7. If you didn't like that movie, there was a movie on Channel 9. There was a movie on Channel 11, and then you had on Sunday you had the Bowery Boys in the morning,
Okay.
and then you had movies after that.
Yeah.
So, well, that didn't sound good. They're starting to work up there. Yeah, this is not going to be fun. The theaters are never as valuable as the land. All right, so like for example, the Regency, that's they were dying to tear that down.
Yeah.
Even the Metro, I'm sure somebody wanted to tear that down. The New Yorker, gone. Even the Olympia Theater for a while had a revival house. It was quadded at one point.
Yes.
And then they had one of the theaters was a revival house. Because as the video stores took over and as television started changing, and before the video stores became as prevalent as they were back in the 80s, there was a lack of old movies on TV, and people wanted to see them. And there was no outlet for foreign film on TV.
Yeah.
Forget that. You know, you would never see, you know, La Dolce Vita on the 4:30 movie.
Yeah.
The revival houses were there, and then we came along, and then people started pulling people out of the revival houses because people could do their own film festivals. They didn't have to wait, you know, a year before they could see Casablanca again or La Dolce Vita. So
Yeah.
the Thalia was also another great place. Hello, movie plays. The Riviera and its building had a 6-story office building attached to it. You can see a better picture of it here. This whole thing was left alone. They didn't tear this one down, but people started living in it. And this is after it's being used. You know, the theater up there being used as rehearsal hall. They stopped using it as rehearsal hall. Basically, the building became abandoned, and it was this, you know, big abandoned building on 97th and Broadway.
Yeah.
When the theaters were built in different years, but they were designed by the same guy. These are both Thomas Lamb, and there was connections made in the basement. When they tore this down, they did find 2 bodies. Ooh, yeah. You could not get from the offices into any of the theaters. That was like one thing that he did, and it was, you know, in all his buildings. He was actually not a licensed architect. He had majored in acoustics and mechanical drawing at Cooper Union. That's all plaster up there. All of it's plaster. I would kill for that piece, you know. So
How many Thomas Lamb movie theaters are remaining?
are left? Lowe's 175th, which was the last of the Lowe's Wonder Theaters to open, is his, and it's intact and beautiful. And then the Times Square Church, which used to be the Mark Hellinger, which is a great example of him at his Baroque best.
Yeah.
While the Lowe's 175th is more like if China had a Baroque period, this is what it would look like. Somebody called it a hashish nightmare. I think it was me. Hello, movie plays. I'm convinced that this industry did kill all the theaters because
The revival houses.
revival houses. The whole thing that went on over the symphony space and the Thalia, that was somebody wanted that for years, and Pomander Walk fought it, and they owned the air rights. Somehow they owned the air rights above that, and or there was a lease on air rights that ran out, which is why they were able to build what they built there ultimately. But they also had to save those 2 theaters, even though they gutted the Thalia, and the Thalia is no longer anything resembling what it was.
Yeah, I remember the dip down.
Yeah, and it was done on purpose. Everyone thought it was some kind of weird accident. It was an experiment in theater design, and a bold one at that. I mean, it was a filthy theater. It was dirty, filthy theater.
Yeah.
But we all loved going there. You know, I used to go cartoon festivals and Brando festivals and Bogart festivals and. I mean, this space was fairly raw when we moved in. I remember what it looked like. It was, when I first came in here, it was being used by the guys who used to own the Abbey Pub for storage for like, there was a piano up in here. There was booths that just, you know, they were taken from other places that they, you know, a lot of restaurant guys go to auctions of restaurants that don't pay their taxes or, you know, they go under and they just don't pay anything and that's it. You know, they walk away. Like in Goodfellas, you know, it's the same thing. So what they did is they bought like, you know, a bunch of espresso makers, you know, like those, you know, those big ones with eagles and crap on it, with tons of glasses. You know, there was just crates and crates of glasses. Thank you. Take care now. And there were tables and just the holes in the floor. It was horrible. But they pulled all their stuff out. It was all stuff they wanted.
Yeah.
So they took it all out, except for this. This they left. They said, you can have this.
That was part of a bar.
A bar. This part is a bar. This part is called something else. Down here. This we built.
Yes.
But this was here. This piece of mahogany is here. And hello, movie plays. Who's this? Yeah, this is he. Hi. I looked at the space and I called Carol and I took a pass. You know, it's kind of small. Yeah, that's what you were absolutely right. So. This old aroma scent place on 106. The rent was $5,000. You know, I was originally told it was $2,500. It was $5,000, which was close to something I paid. It was a smaller space than this, and the whole point of a store like this is that people want to come and browse, and you couldn't do any browsing in there. It wouldn't be able to set up like that. The biggest space that I saw in Amsterdam was about this size, and it was $8,500 a month, but it was in horrendous condition, absolutely horrible condition, and it would have to. there was a chunk of flooring that was from a walk-in box. So you have concrete this high off the floor, from a walk-in refrigerator. It's like you gotta get guys with jackhammers to come in and get rid of it.
You would have been responsible.
I would have been responsible,
Yeah.
and everything. The drop ceiling was falling, so I'd be responsible for that. There's a lot of things that I would have been responsible for that I didn't want to be responsible for. The process was getting the estimate on how much it would cost to renovate that big space on Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And this was from a friend who said, minimum $40,000 to $50,000.
Wow.
Well, you're talking like new floors and walls, wall treatment, and how many guys are doing it, and the materials, and that was without even looking at the electrics, which didn't look great.
Yeah.
And I mean, they were kind of hanging off the wall. These ducts were they were just chunks of wires coming out of them.
Yeah.
And that's without an electrician's estimate. So, we had just a physical construction estimate, and that was just it was just horrendous.
Yeah.
I miss the West Rental Deck.
Yeah.
Can't just take it today and bring it back tomorrow.
Do you have an account with us? What's your phone number? Yeah. All right.
How are you doing?
Oh, it's depressing.
We're talking about the rental space that on Amsterdam that seemed promising at first, but just went downhill.
In fact, I was going to try to get a partner. I was going to approach somebody who already has a coffee business and say, and he was going to try to buy his partner out. He wanted to buy his partner out, and I, was going to say to him, before you buy your partner out, why don't you do this with me? And then I saw, the costs were just, too high, and Movie Place already has debt.
Yeah.
And I didn't need to add any more, and I didn't want to take any more risks. So that was the deciding factor. When I got that estimate, I said, "Oh, that's it. I got to close," and that's when we announced. So, okay.